Hello, howdy, and welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Kathryn, the Aerogarden Homesteader. Today, I am trying to take advantage of the last little bit of cool weather that we're going to have, probably for the rest of the summer, so I am stocking my freezer. If you saw my freezer meal video that came out just a few days ago, might have been a week ago, I kind of explained that when the hot weather hits, we generally cut back on our cooking indoors, and we try to do more cooking outdoors, so we're not heating up the house. So my cooking pattern will shift a little over the summer, and I will take you along for that. But in the meantime, since I have cool weather, I am taking advantage of it. I am making some bread today, some granola, some yogurt, and I will also be making cookies. So I have 2 cups of oatmeal. Any kind of oatmeal will work because you're going to grind it down into kind of like a coarse powder. So it's not flour, but it's going to be like a coarse meal. So this is a new to me recipe. I got it from Mel's Kitchen Cafe. It is her peanut butter oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. I will make sure to link that below for you, but this is what I'm trying today. I'm trying a slightly different recipe. It is actually vegan, but I didn't feel like going and getting applesauce, so I'm just going to put 2 eggs in. Because, you know, if you can substitute one way, you can substitute the other. So I am going to be adding in my flour, oatmeal, baking soda, and salt. And then, of course, I probably should have done the other stuff first because then I need to make my wet stuff. Oh well, let's get the baking soda in. So I just saved the same container and I just refill it from the bulk bins at Winco. I like it because it's got the little thing here, but you know, I should probably just put it in a jar and 3D print a lid that's got one of those on it. But I haven't done that yet. So, on to the salt. It's always good to add a little salt to your sweet stuff. It calls for half a teaspoon. I'm just going to eyeball it, and that's that. So apparently I need to get another bowl because even though I read the instructions and wrote them down, I put everything in the same bowl. So I guess we're messing up another bowl today. Maybe I can actually fill up the dishwasher today. Okay, so I need, let's put the sugars in first. Actually, that's not sugar. This is sugar. Because then I can use the 1 cup measure. So I need 1.5 cups of sugar. If you've been following along for a little while, you know I don't keep brown sugar in the house because I just don't see the point. So this is actually 1 cup of brown sugar and half a cup of white sugar. And if you are like me and you don't keep brown sugar in the house, add some molasses. So I have my sugar. I need a cup of peanut butter. This is why I wanted to use the measuring cup first. So that'll be fun. Now it does say you can use a natural style peanut butter or a conventional peanut butter. So this is just a conventional hydrogenated holds together peanut butter. It's also a lot thicker than normal. The difference being, if you use a runnier peanut butter, the cookie will be a little softer. If you use a stiffer peanut butter like this, you need to kind of push the cookie down a little bit so it spreads, because it's not going to spread as well. So if you want it to be a little bit crunchier, you push it down so it doesn't have a big gob of, you know, raw cookie dough in the middle. Okay, I think that might be a cup. I'll go with it. This is a great way to use up oatmeal and peanut butter. 2 things of which I need to use up. I don't like things sitting around when they're getting close to their expiration date, and those are getting close. So if these cookies turn out, I might make more and put even more in the freezer. Hopefully they freeze well. I guess we'll find out. Okay, there is that. Let's get this in. I feel like no matter how often I wipe the threads on this, it's still hard to open. So I think the ratio is you need about a tablespoon of brown sugar, or tablespoon of molasses to 1 cup of brown sugar. I think that's for light. If you want something a little darker, you can add a little more molasses. We will see how this turns out. Okay, well, I still need to put in a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm just going to eyeball it. A little extra never hurts. And 2 eggs. So, if you don't want to use eggs, if you want to keep this vegan, use a half a cup of applesauce. I did not feel like opening up a quart of applesauce just for half a cup. So that was cute. Got all the eggshell in there. There we go. And yes, I do know about the eggshell trick, so you don't have to tell me. I find it works just as well to reach in and pinch it out with my fingers. I also know the tap the egg on the counter trick so it doesn't shatter. Doesn't work for me, so I just tap it on the bowl. A little extra calcium never hurt anybody, right? Alright, let's get this all combined up, and then we will add it to the dry ingredients. Boy, I think this is the first time in like a really long time I have had to make something with two bowls. Normally I just dump it all in at once. I think if I had written the recipe the other way, I would have done that. So I would actually, to do one bowl for this, I would do all of the wet first. So I would do this step first, then I would powder up my rolled oats and add it directly on top with everything else, and then mix it in all together. So that didn't happen. We're just going with it. And since I need the bigger bowl, this is going to be added to the dry ingredients instead of the other way around. So this is probably a do as I say, not as I do type thing, but there's a reason for that. I hate messing up two bowls. I mean, it's just extra dishes. And I don't normally put these in the dishwasher. Okay, let's get this all combined and see how thick it is. See if we can not make a mess. Kind of helps if you kind of chop it in instead of like, you know, swirl and stir it in. Okay, well it certainly smells good, so I hope it tastes good. I mean, it shouldn't really be that much different from the other cookie recipes I have made in the past that are like an oatmeal chocolate chip variety. This one does not have the raisin base, so that is the difference, I think. Okay, this is actually very stiff. Oh, I know why it's stiff. Haha, I forgot to add the half cup of oil. Well, hopefully we don't have any problems getting this to incorporate. It should have been put in with the wet ingredients, so it should have gone with the peanut butter mixture. Just says to use a neutral oil. This is the only neutral oil I have. It's just like a vegetable canola oil, I think. So. Okay, let's see how that goes together. Okay, that might have solved the problem. I guess it wasn't a problem, it was a reading error on my part. There we go. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. Still stiff, like a cookie dough should be, but at least it's going in. So we've been working on building our coop outside, and I've been helping, you know, it's obviously my pet project, but so I've been helping as much as I can. My arm and hand, my actual hand is sore. It's not sore, it's tired from hammering in the nails. It's like, it's hard to hold my spatula. Okay, well, that's what you gotta do. Get the stuff done on the weekend and take advantage of the cool weather during the week for cooking. Okay. There we go, almost done. There's still a little bit on the bottom. I guess if you've got clean hands, you can just get in here with your hands. Probably should just use a mixer next time. Whew. Okay. And we need 1.5 cups of chocolate chips. So I'm going to guess that's about a cup, not quite. Okay, put in another half cup. So I don't know about your hands, but my hands hold about a little over a quarter, so there you go. That is stiff. Oh boy. Okay, that might have been a few too many chocolate chips. I don't think I'm going to hear any complaints from the kids on that, so we're going with it. My oven has been preheated to 350 degrees, and it said 2 to 3 tablespoons per cookie ball. I think my big scoop can do that, but that's a lot. So I'm going to make sure I don't overstuff it because, you know, honestly, I don't think the kids need that much cookie. So I'll definitely make sure we pack the scoop only as full as it can take. Okay, so some of these are going to go in the freezer, some of these will stay out. If they're really good, I will probably make another batch and put them in the freezer as well, because then I can use up more oatmeal and more peanut butter, and then I can just keep everything preserved in the freezer. I might actually make some biscuits today. Sometimes it's nice to have a biscuit with jam on it. So since I have the oven heated up, I might whip up a batch of biscuits too. Definitely think it was a few too many chocolate chips. I'm going to flatten them into discs. It's kind of like making a hamburger patty. Okay, these are supposed to go in for about 10 to 12 minutes. It does say not to overbake them. Okay, so it looks like I got 17 cookies, I believe. Yes, I definitely feel like I probably went a little overboard on the chocolate chips, so word to the wise. Okay, I will bring you back and show you how everything went. Okay, I'm going to whip up some bread real quick. I'm going to whip up some biscuits. Got the granola and yogurt. Those are done. I'll show you all that at the end. So I've got a bunch of things out and I just need to keep everything straight. So let's get the sourdough going first. Okay, so you've all seen me do this before. I've done it several times. I am actually making one change to this. It's another reason why I thought, oh, I'll just take you along for it. I am going to actually add the butter after I have kneaded the dough. So the reason for that, there's two reasons. I kind of decided that I was going to make this, and I scaled up my sourdough because, you know, oh hey, it's a nice cool day. Let's get one final loaf of bread in the freezer to enjoy over part of the summer. And I forgot to take the butter out. So butter's hard as a rock. I am going to allow the butter to thaw for the hour it takes for this to sort of do its rusting. And then I will knead it up until it's nice and smooth and add the butter after. So I have heard that if you add the butter before, sometimes it coats the flour and prevents gluten formation. So we're going to see what happens. My cookies are almost out of the oven, so I might have to pull those out. They are taking slightly longer than I expected, but hey, it happens. But I'm going to do what I can. So, okay, back. Cookies are out of the oven. The cookies look a little undercooked on the outside. They're kind of pale, but hopefully they're cooked on the inside. Okay, so I got this. As we have discovered, stirring the sourdough starter into the water works a lot better than the other way around. Okay, it definitely does not stir into the flour very well. Okay, so I think that's it weight-wise. So I can get rid of this, put in my powdered milk. I think I added a little extra last time and it was quite nice. So. Okay, so we will see if there is any difference adding the butter afterwards. I have heard it can make a difference, but it sometimes depends on the amount of butter or fat that you're adding. So I wanted to see if I'm going to get sort of a, you know, that nice bread pull that you get. You see it on TikTok all the time or YouTube or wherever. This bread doesn't do that. It's kind of more like a shortbread. It's not a shortbread, but it's got that sort of shortbread consistency, texture. So I thought that we could try adding the butter after it has been kneaded and we've gotten gluten formation, which, yes, it will be messy, but it can be done. Yes, definitely have mixed feelings on the dough hook. I like how sturdy it is, but I feel like the things need to be open a little more to make it easier to clean. Needs a little bit more water. Obviously, I messed up the calculation. Well, I certainly hope this isn't a video of me going back and forth adding flour and water. That would be kind of embarrassing. I'm still new with bread making and sourdough and all that stuff. I'm still learning. It's just a skill that takes time to learn. So, and I do like using measurements because I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just the anal side of me, but I feel like I get slightly more consistent results. But you know what? To each their own. You know, I go through and I weigh out all the ingredients for my bread, and then some things I just you know, other recipes I just blop them in. So some recipes are definitely more forgiving than others. Alright, let me scrape my hand down. This will just sit and rest for an hour. We will see where it's at. Then I will get the butter in. We'll see how it turns out. Plus I'm really curious to try these cookies. I think I will wait a few more minutes on the cookies. I'm going to get the biscuits going because the other set is almost out of the oven. And I want to take advantage of the oven being on and not having to turn it off. So, okay, that might be all she wrote. Okay, biscuits. I have made these before. I actually took the same recipe and converted it to a sourdough one as well. If you want to see those, I'll get those linked up. But I'm just going to go through this pretty quick. So, it's my grandmother's recipe. I'm just going to make a half batch. They freeze really well as dough, and they also freeze really well pre-made. So as long as you don't over-bake them, they thaw and reheat really well. Like I only have to put them in the microwave for, you know, maybe 10-20 seconds to get them to heat up. Just to be nice, almost from the oven warm. Got more. I also have a mystery white powder in my pantry, so we might have to figure out what that is. It's either baking powder or baking soda. There's a way to find out, so I just need to do it. And if you're curious, I'm pretty sure that baking soda is heat reactive, or reactive to acid, I mean. And baking powder is reactive to water. So I should just be able to add a little water, and if nothing happens, add a little vinegar, and that should help me figure out what it is. And I'm pretty sure it's one or the other because I buy those two powders mostly, and I have used it in the past, so obviously I refilled something and I couldn't fill it up all the way. And I know it's not cornstarch, which would be the other culprit, because cornstarch, I don't know if you've worked with cornstarch, but if you squish it when it's in the bag, it makes like a soft, it's like a squishing snow sound. It's hard to describe. So I am actually going to just put some milk powder in, and then add the water on top of it, and that should hopefully do it. Because again, trying to use up milk powder. I'm not using it for yogurt, I'm going to use it for something else. Okay, so this is a 1/3 cup measure. I need half of that because it calls for 1 cup of milk for the full recipe, but I'm making a half recipe, so I need half. The trick is to not overwork it, which I think I am starting to hit that point. So I got to be careful. Okay, we're not going to knead it, but we're just going to kind of fold it, press it out, shape it up, fold it. It's the folding technique that kind of creates those layers. So it's called lamination. I don't know if this is true lamination. I think real lamination is kind of what you do with crescent rolls and the butter, or, you know, like puff pastry. But this will still give that desired effect. Now, this is supposed to make 9. I don't think I'm going to get 9 out of this. Rolling pin. I'm going to put on a little bit of flour to prevent sticking. There we go. Oh, that looks a little bit better. Okay. Okay, for all you circle purists, don't look. I used to do circles, and then I saw someone doing squares, and I'm like, mind blown, because it's less wasteful. I don't always have that weird little one left at the end. I also found that you're not rolling your dough out again and again, which can make them tough. And you know what? If you really wanted, you can just pinch in the corners a little bit and you get something rounder. Now, something I want to mention is, if you're using silpats, I don't know if you've experienced this, but I have noticed that my silpats will sometimes pick up the flavor of whatever was cooked on it before. So if you cooked like ribs or something really flavorful on it, and then you cook like a cookie, it'll sometimes impart the flavor. And it goes the other way around too. So if you cook like mint cookies on your silpat and then you cook something else on it that's mild flavor for dinner, it will flavor it. So I have started keeping my silpats separate from each other. I've got baking ones now, and I've got cooking ones. So just something to take note of. Okay, well, these just came out. I just wanted to show you them real quick, but I will give you a nice look inside after the fact. I like to brush them with salted butter, but yeah, I took out unsalted butter, of course, so we're going with the unsalted. I might give it a quick little sprinkle after I get the butter on of some salt, just to give it that nice little salty burst. You can certainly brush butter on before they go in, but I just like to put it on after. It's just do you. I'll do me. So there you go, that's all been brushed. So you can see some of the ones that have the corner sticking out, they do get a little bit more done than other parts of it, but that's fine. And then I will just give it a quick sprinkle. Now, if you have finishing salt, this would probably be a really good spot for it. But I'm just going to just dust it lightly with a little bit. I find it just tastes better with that little salty kick. I don't know how to describe it. It goes well with when I put jam on it, so I'm going with it. Okay, so we got a few more things to wrap up, and then I will show you everything at the end. It has been about an hour and a bit, so it's time to get this kneaded up. Definitely has developed some gluten. So let me see if I can get this out of the bowl. Ugh. Okay. Definitely need a better bowl for this. This one is not that good. Alright, well, it's might be about as clean as that gets. Okay. So I'm going to knead this up probably for at least 5 minutes, and then I will start adding the butter. So hopefully I can get some nice gluten development formed, and then put the butter in and get that nice bread pull. If you know, you know. So I will just obviously speed through the kneading process. Putting in the butter is really messy. I don't know. I'll probably go through that pretty quick as well. But yeah, it's you just have to put it in like a small pat at a time and work it in until it's completely worked in. Problem with doing it by hand, of course, is that you get it all over the counter, you get it all over your hands, it just goes everywhere. So yeah, if you're going to do this part by hand, just be prepared for it to be messy. I kind of recommend this part by machine, but I started this by hand, so I might as well finish it by hand. Wow, that's incredible. Like, it went from a sticky, hard to work dough to a really nice, soft, supple dough just with the butter. I mean, I'm sure some of that was the kneading as well, but that is a really nice dough. This is what it feels like normally after I have just added everything together and mixed it. So, hopefully, it turns out the way I hope it does. I'm probably going to get a clean bowl, because I get the feeling this is going to have all these little hard chunks in here, and it'll just cause problems. So, I'm going to get this in another bowl, probably put a very light film of oil, actually I got some butter here, put a light film of butter on it, and I'll let it rise overnight. So hopefully in the morning we can deal with this. I wanted to show you how the biscuits and the cookies turned out. So you can see that they've got layers, they're kind of flaky. The ones on the edge obviously get a little pinched because they're, on the edge, but there is kind of a way around that if you trim the edge off before you cut them. But, again, it goes back to, there's a little bit of waste going on with that method. So they turned out really nice. Let me give them a nice taste try. I like to put butter on mine. I normally like to put strawberry jam, freezer jam on it, but I don't have any. Those are good. Those are really good. Definitely need salted butter though. Wow. Here is how the cookies turned out. They turned out really nice. Oh, chocolate pull. So it's just a matter of, will the kids like them? That's a good cookie. I would make those again. I hope the kids like them. Although if they don't, I guess I don't have to worry about eating them. Yeah. That's very good. You should give those a try. Oh, the bread turned out beautiful. So it actually rose pretty quick. I was able to shape it the night of and then bake it off early this morning. It's kind of baked in a cool oven at first. I don't think my temperature was set properly, or my oven is just broken and it was not very good because it didn't cook in the amount of time. It took a lot longer. But having the foil on and cooking at a lower temperature actually seemed like it was a good thing, because I have not gotten a perfect rise like this in a long time, especially with sourdough. So it was like the perfect storm of events that just brought all of this together, and I have no idea if I'll be able to recreate this. And I did get a little bit of overproofing, but some of that could have just been oven spring and the weird oven temperatures I had. Anyways, I will enjoy some of this, and then I will put the rest in the freezer for later. But this is a beautiful loaf. I think I might do the add the butter after technique again. I'm definitely going to cover it with foil again, and I think I might try a lower temperature in my oven to see if that helps. Although I did get that's a shaping error on my part. That was me. So I gotta make my roll a little tighter from now on. All good things to know. And now I'll show you the rest of the things from this whirlwind of baking and cooking. I think I will definitely be covering it with tinfoil from now on, because I felt like it got a little bit dark without the foil. I think the foil really helps prevent it from getting overly brown and makes for a nicer texture on top. So, this was a 2-day project. Over the course of 2 days I made the bread which you saw, I made yogurt, I made some granola. This is another batch, it's nice and crispy. And I made the biscuits and some cookies for the freezer. So, this was a big project, but it was a good project. It was good to get this done. I now have some stuff in the freezer for the kids' lunch. I've got little snacky things for when I want them over the course of the summer, as well as the bread which you saw earlier. And this was a good time to get it done. I did not heat the house up. I didn't have to worry about turning on the heat because it was chilly this morning. I didn't have to worry about turning on the AC because it didn't get too hot today. But this was the perfect project. It was the perfect wrap-up for the last of the cool weather. In the meantime, all of this is going in the freezer. I will be eating the granola and yogurt over the course of the summer, or however long it lasts, honestly. If I have to make more, I generally just put the dehydrator outside if it's going to be too hot, which it normally is over the summer, and just do that. So, I hope you found this video useful. I will be switching over to summer cooking at this point, which I hope you will find useful. Thank you for joining me today on this whirlwind of actually 2 days of cooking and baking, and I will see you next time on the Aerogarden Homestead.